LTA, what's going on? How y'all feeling today? You know, we gonna come with some news like we always do and tell you what's going on. Today we got, a couple things. Brittany Griner, the WNBA hoop star that got caught in Russia with a vape pen. She just got sentenced to 9 years. Ain't that crazy? They just sentenced this woman to 9 years in the Russian prison for a fucking vape pen.
The WNBA, the NBA, and President Biden are all calling for the immediate release of pro basketball player Brittany Griner from a Russian prison. Just hours ago, a Russian judge sentenced Griner to 9 years. That decision comes as the U.S. has been in talks with Russia about a possible prisoner swap that would free Griner and at least one other American still held in Russian custody. ABC's Justin Finch has the update this afternoon.
A painful day in Russian court for WNBA star Brittany Griner, her hands locked in cuffs as she began a 9-year prison sentence.
I love my family.
The 31-year-old now unaware of just when she'll see her family again. Griner sat behind bars in court Thursday following proceedings with a translator assisting. At one point, the judge asking Griner if she understood.
Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
The judge going on to find Griner guilty of drug possession and smuggling and sentencing her to 9 years in prison, just under the maximum, plus a fine of more than $16,000. Griner's lawyers saying the verdict left her overwhelmed.
She's very upset, very stressed, and she can hardly talk.
In Washington, President Biden firing off a statement calling that verdict unacceptable. The WNBA and NBA issuing a joint statement calling the Griner verdict unjustified. Griner has been held in Russian custody since mid-February following her arrest after vape cartridges of cannabis oil were found in her luggage at a Moscow area airport. Griner pleaded guilty in court, admitting she mistakenly included those cartridges while rushing to pack. Her defense team argued that cannabis oil, though illegal in Russia, was legally prescribed in the U.S. for pain management.
This is a miscarriage of justice.
Now the U.S. awaits Russia's response to its prisoner swap offer, exchanging Griner and Russian-held former Marine Paul Whelan for U.S.-held Russian arms dealer Victor Bout. Griner's attorneys say she's been treated well so far in prison, and they hope to set up a call between Griner and her family soon. Her attorneys also planning to file an appeal. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
That's wild. But they saying that they got to convict her, though, for they could try to do the trade for the merchant of death. They got to convict her for they could get the trade to happen. I don't know if they're going to trade the merchant of death for Brittany, but they probably will. This would be a big political play for Biden. This would be a win. Like, I don't know if the LBTQ, however, no disrespect, however you say that. I don't know if they get involved or whatever. So, this could be a political move. This could definitely be a political move. It's crazy to even think, though, that you could get a sentence, so what she got charged with, it held up to a 10-year prison sentence. 10 years. And all she had was a vape. I haven't looked it up myself yet, but I heard on the radio from a radio host or whatever that he looked it up, and her actual crime really doesn't even fall in the guidelines for that 10 years. It's the overlay for the underlay. So now she's just pretty much a political prisoner. That's what we're saying, get her. They got to get the conviction before they could get the merchant of death. So, even he said when he looked it up, her case really would have fell under like 4 years or so. But even then, for a vape, that's crazy. We always make fun of America and stuff like that, and don't get me wrong, it is some different countries. It is some countries that it's certain places in certain countries that is would be nice to live in. But overall, America, obviously is America, Now they do a whole bunch of crazy shit to stay in that position behind the scenes, but it is what it is. You feel me? But yeah, I wanted to touch on that. I don't just hopefully they do a trade for it, because 9 years and that's Russia. Who knows what they time is? I'm pretty sure they doing 9 months. 9 years. If she got 9 years, I'm pretty sure she's doing 9 years. You know what I mean? So that's wild, man. Can you imagine? She's a 2-time gold Olympic medalist, a 2-time gold Olympic medalist, right? She's a WNBA player. You know, you got all this going for you, and then some shit like this happens, right? That just goes to show you right there, like, life is just so unpredictable, and so, you know, you can't never take it for granted. You feel me? You gotta play this shit how it goes, because look at that. And just imagine if she got to really do the 9 years, which, like I said, I think it's a big political play. I think they're gonna get her out, but man, just imagine, man, that's crazy. Right, check this out. Let's move on to this one. 4 cops got charged in Breonna Taylor's death. 4 cops got charged in Breonna Taylor's death. Rest in peace. That's cool. Rest in peace to her. About time. It took a while, but and some of that story is they found out that the dude the cop that issued the search warrant for her house did it with pure negligence. He didn't know the information he had, the information that he, had to get the search warrant was all false. So they figured that out, and some more shit that goes with the whole raid. The whole raid was just bogus. You know what I mean? So, the federal courts, they had to jump in on that. They had to intervene on that one.
Major new developments in the deadly police shooting of Breonna Taylor in Louisville, Kentucky. The Justice Department today leveling federal charges against 4 current and former officers connected with her death. Among the charges, officers are accused of falsifying documents to obtain the search warrant of her home where she was shot and killed. Then they're accused of lying to cover it up. ABC's Faith Abube reporting tonight from Louisville.
More than 2 years after Breonna Taylor was shot to death in a botched drug raid, U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland today announcing federal charges for 4 current and former Louisville Metro Police officers.
The federal charges announced today allege that members of the Place-Based Investigations Unit falsified the affidavit used to obtain the search warrant of Ms. Taylor's home.
Prosecutors say Sergeant Cal Meany and detectives Joshua James and Kelly Goodlett knew the search warrant lacked probable cause, and they say those 2 detectives later conspired to cover up their lies, allegedly meeting in a garage to come up with a false story for investigators.
We allege that the defendants knew their actions in falsifying the affidavit could create a dangerous situation.
Walk back to my voice!
Prosecutors say the officers who executed the warrant at Taylor's home knew nothing about the false affidavit. And when Taylor's boyfriend mistook police for an intruder firing a shot from his registered gun in self-defense, officers opened fire, killing the 26-year-old EMT. Former officer Brett Hankerson, who was acquitted on state charges for firing into a neighbor's apartment, today charged with excessive force for firing 10 shots through a window and sliding glass door in Taylor's home.
Breonna Taylor should be alive today.
Say her name! Breonna Taylor!
Taylor's death and the murder of George Floyd sparking protests across the country.
Say her name!
Breonna Taylor!
I've waited 874 days for today.
Breonna Taylor's mother calling the charges overdue.
What we've been seeing on day 1, y'all learning what we've been seeing was the truth. That they shouldn't have been there and that Breonna didn't deserve that.
With 3 of the officers charged with civil rights violations could face a maximum of life in prison. A 4th officer could spend years behind bars if convicted. Whit?
Faith, thank you.
And it's about time, though. About time. Hey, we're going to see how it plays, though. Like, they just charged right now. So we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, that whole warrant was just bogus. Dude gets information, secondhand information from another cop that was false. He didn't check into it or nothing. He just went off with the look, off the what the other cops said. Never did no real homework on the whole situation. So they went in there and killed that poor woman. You know what I mean? They went in there and killed that poor woman. So rest in peace to her. About time at least something got done for it. Like I said, we'll see if they get convicted, because that'd be the only thing. I mean, nothing to bring her back, but at least there's some type of justice as far as that go. Rest in peace to her.